and welcome to Phone Show Chat. It's 891, show 891. It's the 20th of April, and I'm rushing through the intro on Ted and Joe's Go Live 3 because we've got a house full of people already. So thank you so much, gentlemen, for dropping in. Malcolm Bryant was first. Hello, Malcolm.
Hello, guys. How are you? Nice to be nice to chat with you all, and nice to be back on the pod again.
Malcolm needs to drop out first, so we'll go to him first in a second. Steve Litchfield was next. Hello, Steve.
Hello, party time at Ted's.
And thirdly was Jeremy Harpham. Hello, Jeremy.
Hello, Ted. Hello, everyone.
The pub meat specialist in the team. So welcome to you all. And Joe Hickey, of course. Hello, Joe.
Hello there. Do you know what? It feels a bit like, during COVID when you had the calls with friends.
Oh, yeah. Lots of pictures all over your screen. So we purposely decided this time, Joe and I, to not have any agenda of any sort, no preparation for the show, completely... Oh, blimey, there's someone else turned up now. Look, Gareth Williams. Hello, Gareth, isn't it? Can you hear us? Okay, we'll come to him in a second. So Gareth Williams, when he gets his microphone sorted out, will be there as well. Malcolm, let's turn to you first and see what you've got to say, what phone you're using, what you're up to. We were talking today about what I said in the Tech Addicts group about sideloading. Don't know if you want to go into that or not in the time you've got, but anything you want to talk about?
I didn't really have any fixed plans. People and I do a bit of Android development, so I can always talk about that and bore people with that. But yeah, Android sideloading is very topical. People may have seen or read some of the news about the changes that Google's making, and the kind of developer community really are just trying to get their heads around what's going to change later this year, and it's hard to kind of summarize in 30 seconds all of the changes, but basically developers are going to be required to register with Google in future.
Yeah.
So if you release stuff on the Play Store, then obviously you already did that, and you had to give your credentials to Google. But the new change that's coming in later this year is that some developers, for whatever reason, didn't want to give their personal information to Google. But now, if they want to have their apps available for sideloading, they're going to have to do that.
Cool.
Or they're going to have to,
or not cool.
Use developer tools or something. So it's a big change, and like I said, we're trying to get our heads around it really.
Cool. Okay, so what are you currently developing? Anything interesting?
Yeah, I'm actually working on an app at the moment that for phones and watches that analyzes all your usage stats, all your app usage stats. So when you start the app, it does a scan of all of the apps on your device and how often you've been using them. Sounds a bit kind of nefarious, but it isn't. It's just using standard Google tools, and then it displays that back to the user in kind of order of most used to least used. Right. So if you ever kind of wondered, A, what am I using on my phone, but B, what's kind of what's being used behind the scenes, this will give you a snapshot over, say, the last 24 hours or something like that. So it's kind of interesting, and that's what I'm working on at the moment, for what it's worth.
Do feel free, anyone, to jump in and chip in, and don't let me just play host and interview each one of you.
You're such a fabulous host, though, Ted. So
this is very open. So do jump and chip in and say whatever you want to say.
I've got a question. I've got a question for Jeremy, which is I just wondered how. First of all, thanks for stepping up and organising the pub meets, and I just wondered, what the current status is, whether you've got critical mass or how that's going.
I would say we haven't got critical mass yet. We've basically got a dozen people that have replied and stated interest, and this is for outside of London, right? There's enough interest to be able to do one in London, but outside of London, I've kind of got a pool of 2 or 3 people, but only in 2 places, and they're still quite a way apart. So it would be really good if other people want to show interest, and it's not necessarily a pub meet. It could be a coffee house. It depends on what time of day, really. So if people still wish to register their interest, then in the main PSC group, you can find the post, and I'm sure Ted will put it in the notes for us once again. But alternatively, just drop me an email to jeremy.harpham@outlook.com, and that's HARPHAM.
Sure.
Because I'm quite keen for a photo walk, especially if I'm going somewhere new. That would be quite nice to do. Just mobiles, though.
Was there talk at one point about doing something? I know, Jeremy, you said outside of London, which is great. But was there talk of trying to do one in the London area? Because I'm in Surrey, so kind of London works better for me than north of England. Was that something that we discussed, or am I not remembering that correctly?
No, we did a London meet, and there's always been enough. Well, yeah, the one where I stood in because Joe couldn't make it. And,
yeah.
You know, I think there's enough interest to do another London one. I mean, I would suggest the same venue again and pick a date, because that venue was relatively central, and that Wetherspoons was really good. It had coffee, it had food, it had alcohol, so it pretty much could please anyone, I think.
Yeah, it'd be nice. To get that. Organised if we can.
Irfan Ali has joined us. Hello, Irfan.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Here's a candidate for the north of England for you, Jeremy.
Yes.
Well, I'm in God's own country, Yorkshire, so there's nothing better for me. But as I said to Jeremy, I'm willing to travel up to Manchester. But if it's going to be London, then, I mean, I suppose I do travel for work to London now and then, because we have an office in Gresham Street. So,
Steve, Reading?
I had a pub meet today, funnily enough. I met someone in Bracknell from Camberley, and we met at a pub for about an hour and had a great geeky chat, but it was all very spontaneous, so maybe I'll chat about that later. I do have a question for Malcolm, though. This application you're developing, tracking which apps you spend time in, I presume, given that almost every platform already tracks that, and you can see it in the battery stats, I presume your app is a much longer-term view, giving you trends.
It's a complicated subject. So I really just take a step back. I don't know if people remember from the PSE MeWe group probably about 3 weeks ago. I actually wrote a battery stats app. So that was my first app to track the battery usage, because that's primarily what people are interested in. And I wrote and published that app, and it worked. It did what it said on the tin. But then Google, in their wisdom, came out and started marking it as harmful, because I was using some kind of developer tricks to access the battery stats information on the device, which is normally only available to Google system apps. Anyway, long story short, I kind of withdrew that app, because even though it was completely innocuous, I didn't want the bother of trying to explain to people why it was being flagged by Google. So this current app is a kind of attempt to, and it focuses not on the battery usage, but on the actual amount of time that people are using the app and the amount of data that's being transmitted backwards and forwards. So in answer to your question, yes, you can set it to give you information over any period of time that you choose. And that's one of the settings in the app. You can say, just show me the last hour or the last day or the last week or whatever. But I'm still kind of working on it at the moment.
So basically, so at the end of the year, you could say to your app, how many tens of thousands of hours have I spent in YouTube, for example?
Yeah, you could. You actually could do that.
Scarily.
And maybe that would be, maybe that's not helpful for some people to know.
Thank you.
Okay, have we got Gareth Williams yet?
Hi everybody. I think I might sort the microphone out now, if you can hear me.
Well done. Hello from
South
Wales.
South Wales.
Yes.
Indeed.
How are you doing? Anything interesting to ask or contribute, or tell us what you're using at the moment or whatever?
Yeah, I just wanted to start, and apologies for joining late. So a big thank you to you and Joe for what you've done with PSC and the evolution and everything since the great job that Steve did originally. So thank you to all of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers.
In terms of what I'm using now, I've fallen back to the S24 Ultra. I had the Pixel 10 Pro XL. I just didn't like it. I found it quite dull, to be honest. It had nothing additional about it. So I'm back with the S24 Ultra now while I wait for the Honor 600 Pro, hopefully.
Have you still got your Sony Xperias?
I had the Pro I, which I absolutely adored, but then I moved that on. I'm actually thinking of picking up another one just for novelty value.
Okay. Irfan, what are you using?
So after last time's conversation, I sold my Honor 200 Pro after 2 days because I got a really good deal on the Magic 6 Pro now. So I've got an Honor Magic 6 Pro and I'm really enjoying it, to be honest with you. It's a great phone. I mean, the same processor as the Honor 200, but I just like the way this Magic 6 is. It's good. It's doing everything I want to do. And
you mean the V6?
No. The Magic 6 Pro. The Magic not 6 the foldable. Pro. It's quite old now, the handsets. Honor Magic 6 Pro?
The Magic 6 Pro. Joe, tell us about the Magic 6 Pro. I can't remember now.
Before my time of using Honor, it's an older device. Obviously, we're on the 8 Pro now, aren't we? So,
yeah.
How much did you get that for, Ali?
I only paid like $250 for it, but it was in mint condition. It still had warranty actually until December this year. It still got warranty. It had the same processor as in the Honor 200 Pro, to be honest with you, the Snapdragon. So I just picked her up. I just like the camera around the back. It's different, and a lot of people ask me about it. And to be honest with you, it takes some cracking photos. I mean, it just shows that you don't need to buy a brand spanking new handset to actually have a good mobile experience. And as I told you last time, I wasn't keen on Honor, so I've tried it, and I'm really liking the Honor ecosystem. So that's why I got this. So I'm going to keep this for a while.
I'm a big fan of the Honor ecosystem too. I think it's really good.
Yeah, it's slick. It's nice. I just like the way the menus are and how everything you can just. I don't know. It just works fine. I've got Nova on top of it now, but I'm not sure that will happen now after reading Ted's article about the privacy.
That's interesting because Malcolm posted an article just this afternoon about Nova launcher, didn't you, Malcolm?
Yeah, I think it's important we mention that actually because some people might have missed that. So do you want to take that away, Malcolm?
Yeah. So I just did post an update to the group. There was an article, I think, in Android Authority about Nova Launcher, which, is probably the oldest launcher and a favorite launcher of a lot of people. Huge, millions and millions of users worldwide. But the original developer sold it out to a data company, and he's no longer involved with the app. And the data company has gradually been monetizing it. And the gist of the article in Android Authority was that they're adding a whole load of AI into what else into the app, like everybody seems to be doing. But in order to do that, they are going to use a lot more permissions, like intrusive permissions, on the launcher, which people may know is something that I'm kind of interested in. So I think the question for existing Nova launchers is, do you value that additional AI capability, and if you do, is it worth the kind of privacy sacrifice that you'll be making? And people will make their own judgment on that, I guess.
Did it describe exactly what the AI was going to do?
It went into some details, but I think it's still being developed. So I think it's. I don't think it's completely settled yet, but yeah, just it's AI. Just add AI into everything, and it makes it better, right?
Yeah, I mean, at my workplace, they're literally shoehorning into everything now: automation, pipeline, frameworks, Azure, everything. It's just all AI crazy at my workplace. I mean, people don't even write emails anymore; they just get Copilot to write it for them, and they just paste it into a chat. It's just crazy, absolutely crazy.
Okay. And
hey guys, I apologise. Full confession: West Ham are playing Crystal Palace. It's a key match for West Ham. We've got to try and win this match to stay up. And so
you have my sympathies, Malcolm.
I know. So I've just
second place again, Joe.
just got to go and watch it. But nice to chat to you guys, and catch up soon, okay?
Thanks for dropping in.
Okay, no worries. Bye-bye.
That's the end of the football chat.
Okay, let's turn to Steve. And Steve, you've been posting quite a few little bits and pieces lately about nostalgia and stepping back in time and collecting magazines and getting your desk organised and wearing Nokia jumpers and anything you want to chat about that.
Well, it's kind of spring clean season, and as part of life moving on, I've had to rehome my website because the new host wanted like £400 for 2 years. I thought, this is ridiculous. It's just a bunch of HTML, articles about phones and embedded videos and archives of Psion stuff and Nokia communicator stuff, but it's all static. It just doesn't need to be anywhere fancy. So I changed my web host, and as part of getting all the HTML together and all the files and folders, I thought, this is just something of a mess. I've got to standardize it. So I had a bit of a rejig. I put in a navigation bar on all the pages. So I've been spending hours and hours on my website. I know it looks like it's written in the late 1990s, which it was, but at least it's consistent now, and at least it works on most places. And it's now on a completely free web host, so I can just let it ride. But that's all been done. But as part of that, I realised that so many of the links on my site to Psion stuff, to Nokia developers, smartphone developers, and so forth, these sites have all gone AWOL. They're all 404 now. These sites don't exist. The links are all broken. So I've thought there's got to be some archiving responsibility here, that I've got to keep the Psion flag and the Nokia communicator and the S60 flag and all of this stuff from the 1990s and 2000s. I've got to keep the stuff online because people may well depend on it. And similarly, Rafe Blandford, our good friend over at All About Symbian, the All About sites, he's been doing the similar thing with All About Symbian. So even though Symbian itself hasn't been an OS in the mainstream for 12, 13, 14 years, All About Symbian is still online. All the articles are there, still there. Nearly all the comments are still there. And he's moved that to a new host, which is essentially much cheaper. He's converted it to more of a static site, so but everything is still readable. He's committed to keeping that online for many more years to come. So between the two of us, Rafe and myself, we're going to keep all of that in Psion, Symbian, Nokia communicators, S60, all of that stuff online as long as we possibly can, and kind of make sure that other people's links to us don't break. So there's been a lot of background work, but hopefully people can see it. Follow all the links on my website, etc., etc. And yes, I do have a Nokia Lumia 1020 jumper that was knitted for me by my wife. I'll post a photo of that in the group shortly.
But you also had a small appeal for some devices in your Symbian museum. Did you want to?
Yeah, every so often, people will know in the group, I get all my old Nokias out and Sony Ericssons and whatever, and I charge them up, because otherwise the batteries die and the batteries swell, and you kind of have to abandon the device. And I'm determined to keep them all working as long as possible. So as part of that, I had them all in front of me. I thought, there's a story to be told here in terms of my favourites, why I've kept these particular communicators and smartphones, what was special about them, and also to do some proper photography, because back in the All About Symbian days, everything was shot at like VGA, 640 by 480, and really quite boring photography. And photography is still life photography, and, arty photographs of phones have come on enormously since then. So my idea was I'll do proper still life and arty photographs of these phones, classic phones, being used out and about in 2026, and put them up, and then write the story of why I chose each of these phones, why it's still worth charging out, why it's still worth keeping and still worth telling people about. And hopefully people who had a Symbian or device back in the day, they can appreciate that, and hopefully you can stick the link somewhere in the show notes and people can go off and look at the pictures and read my stories.
Cool. So Ben Wood's Mobile Phone Museum has got a challenge, has it?
Well, he covers every phone going back to the year dot right through to the current day. I'm specifically focusing on a very, very small subset. And you mentioned appeal. Yes, if people out there have got a Nokia or Sony Ericsson smartphone that I haven't mentioned there, then do please get in touch. If it's just collecting dust in a drawer, there are several classic phones, see the group for details, which I'd kind of like to have again. I had them all back in the day, and somehow they've all crept off through wormholes in the space-time continuum to other owners, and And I know some broke, some had to go back to Nokia and Sony and so forth, but I'm left with a core of about a dozen, and I'd like to expand that to about 20. So do get in touch if you've got an old Nokia S60 or Series 80 or UIQ phone in a drawer, and let's see if maybe I can expand my museum and then do a proper write-up and maybe a video on it. So thank you in advance.
Cool. Very good. Okay.
That must be an age thing, actually, Steve, because I've actually gone through I'm actually collecting all phones at the moment. I've got like 10 now. So I've got Nokia 6700, Nokia 3410, Nokia 1110. I've got a 3310 as well. And they all work as well. They put SIM cards in, they all work fine.
Oh, so you've got a collection of old dumb phones, as I used to call them.
Yeah, well as my colleagues at work call them, my drug dealer phone. You can't trust it with them. That's what it's. Yeah. But I've actually just bought a BlackBerry Classic the other day, which I'm going to start using. It's going to run on BB10, but I just used a BlackBerry a few days ago. A friend of mine brought one in, and I just fell back in love with it because I used to have a Curve back in the day. So alongside my Honor, I'm going to be running a BlackBerry as well, just for I don't know, texting and stuff, if people still text and just receiving messages. But yeah, I've just fallen back in love with the BlackBerry form factor again.
I'm sure there are BlackBerry archivists out there as well as UIQ archivists and Windows Phone archivists. And I thought I cannot cope with collecting every classic smartphone for 5 years, but I can cope with the Symbian side of things. So it's somebody else's job to do all the BlackBerries and the dumb phones and the drug dealer phones and the Windows phones, but I'm just doing Symbian.
That's your job.
Yeah, I've taught myself into that, haven't I?
Yeah, that's my story anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny, Steve. I thought, I've got an insight into what your office looks like. Then I realised it says not my actual office.
My office, like most of our offices, is far too poky, dingy and muddly. I couldn't bear to show it on camera, so I did an AI office, but I think it fooled a few people. Yeah.
How does it look similar to that, but just smaller, or?
Yeah, about eight times smaller.
Oh.
I've got the box room at the back of the house, basically, which I like. But my philosophy has always been in any house, when we move into something as a child, I would always make a claim for the smallest room in the house, other than the bathroom, of course, on the grounds that no one else would challenge me for it, because no one else wanted it. So everyone said, yes, fine, go ahead. And ever since then, we moved into my current house. I said, yeah, I'll take the smallest one as my office. And no one challenged it. I thought, because it's the smallest room. So I get it all to myself. But it's kind of stacked high, and it's much more compact than that AI image made out. But it worked out well as an image for my article.
Cool.
This is my plan with my daughter's bedroom, actually, because that's the smallest room. So I've got my eye on it.
Gareth, tell me what you thought about Nextpaper. Just to fill in the background on that, I have got these two Nextpaper phones, TCLs, and I'm kind of making them available around the groups. Gareth had them for a few weeks, and he sent them now on to Steve Nutt, who's seeing what TCL Nextpaper phones are like for accessibility. But you did pen a few notes, Gareth, didn't you, about your initial thoughts, and anything you want to say about that?
I did, yeah. Thank you, first of all, for sending them over. It was good to have a play with both of them. I compared them initially, and my first thought was, if you're going to have something like the Nextpaper, you've got to go, I think, for the one with the stylus and the bigger screen. It just makes more sense, particularly from an e-reader perspective. I was really impressed, I have to say, it was a 60 Ultra, I think, wasn't it, that you sent over, and the 50 Pro?
Yeah.
Of the two, the 60 Ultra was far superior, as you said, in every way, from the cameras to the screen size to responsiveness. And the e-ink style, I thought, was a real good step in the right direction. Obviously, it's not actually e-ink, but it's a mimic thereof. And I think it's positive progress from TCL. I'm excited to see their next phones.
Well, the next phone is out now, and somebody in the group, I can't remember who it is, has actually ordered one, which is the, surprise, 70 Pro, I think it's called.
Is that the OLED one?
It's not the OLED. The OLED one has not seen the light of day yet. The OLED was announced at CES, I think, or MWC. No, CES. And it's in the works. They're claiming to be able to retain the benefits of Nextpaper, but with a non-LCD screen. We'll see what happens with that. But this one that's rolling out now is the 70. And actually, in some ways, it's a bit of a downgrade from the 60. And arguably, it's a downgrade from the 50 as well. well. But that's an aside. The point is that they've gone back to making it smaller, less powerful, smaller battery. It seems like that 60 Ultra is the one that was the one, their proper flagship, and they're not. Perhaps they're saving it all up for the OLED one now. But yes, the 70 is out there, and you can buy it from Amazon right now. But I don't fancy it.
I think it was Ian
genuinely
Furlong.
tempted to make you an offer on that 60 Ultra. If it had the OLED screen, I would have done.
Yeah. Well, we need to see what they're going to do with it, because it might be rubbish. One of the big benefits of the Next Paper technology is that it's just lovely to use, and it feels like paper almost. And they've just done, when your finger runs over it, as you know, it's just really, really smooth and lovely, and on the eye, it's just incredibly soothing and what have you. Let me try and find the. I'll try, while we jump to Joe, who was wanting to say something. I'll just see if I can find the text that you provided when you were summing things up. Joe?
Oh, as usual, I had nothing exciting. I think it was Ian Furlong who was looking at the 70 range, wasn't it?
Oh, was it?
Yeah, for his website. I might have got that wrong though, because I've got a rubbish memory.
Well, it rings a bell, Joe.
Yeah.
It was the bit that disappointed me about the Next Paper displays is they're just not very good out in daylight, sunlight. That's the one thing I wish they would fix. I still have my TCL Next Paper tablet, an early one that I use for indoors, but it's useless outside. And actually, I had the same issue with the 50 Pro that I had. So I'd be very curious to hear when he gets it if it's any better out in daylight.
It's funny. It's funny you should say that, Jeremy, because I thought that it was okay. And that bloke on YouTube called Bets, what's it? The posh bloke. Can't remember. I can never remember his name. The one that does all the e-ink tablets and so forth. He was saying that it's rubbish out in the sun. But when I took it out in the sun, the 50 Pro and the 60 Ultra, I thought they were great. They were fine. It's not as good as a Kindle, I grant you, but it's much better than most phones.
Yeah, I had no issue with it at all, particularly in the e-ink-like mode. I thought it was fine.
Oh yes, in the e-ink mode it's good, but if you wanted to try it if you had the colour one on, it's noticeably bad, worse than a standard IPS screen that goes bright, right? And obviously no match for the OLEDs that ramp up their nits these days into the thousands or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think in the colour mode you're right there, but with the e-ink I thought that was outside, it was perfectly fine.
Yeah, no, e-ink was good, yeah. E-ink was good.
Which one did you have, Irfan? Hello?
He's gone to sleep.
Sorry, Ted. What was the question again?
I was saying,
fallen asleep.
which one of these Next Paper ones did you have? I can't remember now.
I've got Honor Pad 8, which I picked up quite cheap a while ago, just for media consumption, and it's a brilliant tablet. I mean, I think it's an IPS screen, but it's really bright and it's really good for watching.
You see, I
sort of media.
You see, I found this with my Samsung tablet as well, which is an LCD panel, and I didn't know it wasn't OLED. It's so good. It's so I know it's a Samsung, which is fair enough, but I do find that the screen technology is very, very good these days. Gareth, so you were saying about your experience in the sunlight?
Yeah, with the e-ink setup, I thought that was no problem at all. And also the impact on the battery, going back to what you were saying about the switch to the lower battery for the new one, I think the battery is immense on it. When you put it in the max ink mode, it just don't need to charge it, don't need to worry about it at all. I think that's excellent.
We did some testing on that. Now, who was it that I was testing that with? Someone in the group we were testing that with. And we reckoned that it was a pack of lies when they told you that the 60 Ultra could last 9 days, because we tested it just on that max ink mode, and it lasted at best 4 days, and that was with no SIM card in. It was just sat there doing nothing basically, and it only lasted 4 days, compared to the 50 Pro, which lasted much longer. And we concluded that because the 70 Ultra had a the 60 Ultra had a more advanced chipset and a bigger screen and so forth, that the maths had just not worked well with it, and they were telling a pack of lies with it. Interesting to hear that you say you found the opposite.
I was very, very impressed. I'm terrible with my battery. If it gets to about 80%, I've got to plug it in or put it onto a Qi charger or something. I just panic like that. But these were outstanding. I left them, and then I just went back to them, and they were still running.
Right, okay. That puts a little bit of a question around our testing then. I'll tell you what, when it gets back here, I'll do it again. But that's certainly what I found, yeah.
To be fair, I found in the Max Ink mode, it did last for ages. I didn't need to charge it much, but it was always on Wi-Fi when it was in the house while it was left on. Mm-hmm. It was never on like a mobile signal, if that made a difference.
No, I don't know. My testing, as I say, was done with no SIM card in at all, just on Wi-Fi. And effectively, I just put it on the side and didn't touch it. But the phones that are coming out of Big Me, for example, there's a new couple of phones, proper e-ink display phones, which are interesting. Again, if you watch this guy on YouTube, what's his name? Can anyone remember his name? It's a double-barreled surname, and it's Betts something, or something Betts. And he's prolific. He records a video almost every day to do with e-ink panels, and he's just recently got into e-ink phones, and he's testing them all out on there. I'm surprised that you're all drawing a blank on that.
Just put it in the show notes, Ted.
Obviously,
wow.
I watch too much YouTube.
Oh, is it Betts Masters?
That's him, yes.
I've seen some of his stuff. He's good.
Yeah, he goes deep diving into all these devices. A lot of them are not phones. A lot of them are, books, e-readers and all that. But he certainly specialises in e-ink, and the Big Me phones do look quite interesting. Some of you may remember when I had I've lost the name now. A Big Me phone. I was bugged because it had so much Chinese all over it. Even when I turned it on, in order to get to actually the point where you can switch the thing on and use it, you've got to navigate through some Chinese menus and take a guess on which ones to press and which button to press. But once you get past that, it's a little bit better, to be fair. So, yeah, if anyone gets a chance to have a look at a Big Me e-ink phone, it's definitely worth a look. But you've just got to accept that it's so slow compared to ordinary OLED panels, which is why, Gareth, it'll be interesting to see what TCL do with it.
Definitely. Why do we think the bigger manufacturers haven't picked this up?
What, e-ink? Because it's just so slow. It's intolerably slow, and don't forget that the next paper is not e-ink. We know that it's not e-ink. So the experience we have with the TCL devices is not like you get with a Big Me device. And if you run on a Big Me device some video, for example, it's laggy and there's ghosting on it. The whole e-ink technology is just not great compared to what we're now used to. That's the thing, I think.
I did have a Books Pocket at one point, and that was the first generation of it, not the one without the fingerprint the one without the fingerprint sensor, because that bit used to drive me nuts, and that's why I got rid of it.
Right.
That and the fact that it was still on Android 11 when everything else was on 14.
Yes, that's the other problem, isn't it? That these devices, they ship them on a version of Android which is usually already out of date, and there's no commitment at all from anyone to update them. And that's just a bit of a worry, I think. That if you buy an Android 14 e-ink phone right now, that's all it'll ever get. It's a bit of a worry, I think. Joe?
Yeah, thankfully TCL's good at that.
Yeah. TCLs with the next paper is a bit different, and in actual fact, the 70 Ultra has got security promises up to 2032, I think it is. So a really long support cycle, if not for OS. Joe, I was just going to say, when you had my 50 Pro over there, did you last more than 2 minutes watching a YouTube video on it?
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed playing with that. I didn't leave the house with it though, so I'm not sure how it performs outside. I have to be honest, but yeah, I enjoyed playing with that and tinkering away, and trying the different modes as well, because there's 3 different modes on there, isn't there? So yeah, I enjoyed it. I found, like you say, it's the touch is what I loved most, which kept bringing me back to it. Yeah.
I found the video was fine on that, but that again, we've got to remember this is not e-ink we're talking about. This is something else, and so running video on a Next Paper screen is very, very different. And
it's quite nice.
It's acceptable. Even I was watching videos in black and white, and it worked absolutely fine. The only thing is that I don't know, Gareth, and I don't know if anyone else has had the pen, but I was saying to you, Gareth, about the pen, and it's just unresponsive unless you're right in the middle of the screen, and they reckon that's to do with magnets, because there's magnets all in the back of the phone, because all the cases are magnetized, and the pen is magnetized, and there's magnets everywhere, and the type of stylus that's been used for the device doesn't work well if it detects magnets. So there's a block in the middle of the screen where it works almost perfectly, but outside of that block, it's a real touch and go as to whether it works or not. Did you find that?
No, not really. I didn't come across that very often at all. I purposely looked for it because it was one of the things that you mentioned before you sent it over. And I then got out my S24 Ultra and also an old Note 9 just to compare to see what the feel was like. And I think, again, from a touch and feel perspective, the TCL was far superior, and there wasn't as much as an issue in the corners as you said. I didn't find anyway.
Okay. Obviously, you got the magic touch, and I've got the the rubbish fingers or the rubbish pen.
I think quite a few people have had a problem with the corners on it though as well, haven't they? I've seen it on the internet as well, on YouTube and things.
Certainly, that double-barrel bloke, he was demonstrating quite clearly that when you go anywhere near the magnets, it's worse. If you take the case off of it, it tends to work a bit better, but it's still not great.
I did actually use it out of the case, so that might be why.
Okay. Steve?
Makes sense, yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, you mentioned the stylus. I have to chuckle every time I try using a device with the stylus over the last 20 years, 2 decades. Every single time you try using a phone with a stylus, again over 2 decades, we always think, well, it kind of works, kind of doesn't, don't really care, never use it. Steve Jobs famously said, are we really going to use a stylus to get around touchscreen interfaces? No, we're going to use our fingers. And that just made sense. For 99.9%, I guess there must be some artists out there who they'll buy a high-end iPad or a high-end Android tablet, and they'll get good use out of a stylus. But for everyone else, just forget styluses. You do not need a stylus. That's just my takeaway, and I think your takeaway, Ted, as well. Reading between the lines on your various reviews on the subject.
Jeremy?
Yeah, I've very occasionally use the stylus on my S25 Ultra, and it's usually because I'm trying to do something that requires finer control than the end of my fingertip, and it's only because I find that useful when I'm on the smaller screen. If I'm doing the same thing on my Fold 7 when it's unfolded, I don't need the stylus. Is usually it just depends which phone I've got with me, but I don't use it as much as I thought I probably would.
Yeah.
And I think didn't we have, was it Gareth that was running an S24 Ultra?
Yep.
How much do you use yours?
Phones. Quite a lot. I've had the S. I've had the Note 9. I even bought the Pixelbook pen, so I'm a big stylus fan.
Yeah, I have them on tablet. I do have the pens on tablets, like my Lenovo Legion Tab 3, whatever. That's quite good. and I do use that. And I do have the TCL pen with the tablet as well. I can't write on them because nothing can read my handwriting, including me.
So, Gareth, what do you use the stylus for then on your Samsung?
All sorts of things, quick notes, just highlighting things, editing things to send on WhatsApp, quite a lot. I would say it's probably split 50-50 stylus, non-stylus use for me.
Wow, well done. Okay, I stand corrected.
Urpan Ali has dropped out, so thanks for joining us, Urpan. Bye, and catch you next time. Steve, I was talking to Gareth Miles on Tech Addicts podcast about styluses and pens, and he told me that his wife has a device, a phone with a pen, and I said to him the same question. I said, does she actually use it for anything? And he said, absolutely she does. As soon as she takes the phone out, she also takes the stylus out, and she uses it instead of her finger pretty much all the time. So there are people that use it out there. The most I've done with it is to sign a PDF document once. I was very pleased with myself. I was out on the road and I thought, how am I going to do this? Oh yeah, of course, I've got a stylus. And I signed this PDF document and saved it back and then emailed it, and it worked brilliantly well. But you're absolutely right. I've been writing this week about this Motorola, the Moto Pen Ultra, which I've got for the Signature, the Motorola Signature, and I'm after testing it and reviewing it. It's sat there, and it's. I love the utility of it. I love the fact that it's an accessory for my phone. It's great, but you're quite right. I just don't use it at all. Here's Urpan back. Stand by. He must have changed his mind. Hello, Urpan. You're back.
Oh, sorry about that, James. My Teams headset, if you take it off your head, it's like disconnects the meeting, which I suppose is... Sorry about that.
I've got a theory, Ted, about this stylus thing. This is, given that Gareth's a fan and the other Gareth Miles' wife is a fan, I think it's a mindset thing. If you get out your phone and you immediately get the stylus out, then it's available to help you do all the touching and tapping and swiping and for input. If you... like you and I, perhaps most of the phones we try and have got and review, they don't have styluses, so we just never think about it. And that's the problem. It's not that the stylus stuff is not clever. It's not that you can't do a whole bunch of things. It's the fact that most of the time I never even think about using a stylus. I never even lust after one. And it's a mindset thing. Does that ring true?
I suppose so, yeah, to some degree. Joe, you currently got an Honor device with a pen, haven't you?
Yeah, so I think what Steve's saying is very true. So I go through stages where I thoughtfully get the pen out and I play with it and I really enjoy it, and then I put it away and it gets forgotten. So yeah, what Steve is saying is very true. It is a lovely thing to have, but I do totally forget about it quite often till I have to sign an NDA. Then I get it back out again.
Yeah, I can relate to that, because sometimes I do forget it's there and I'll go reach for something else has got a pen in order to sign a document, for example, like my old Pixel tablet.
Well, I like to have it there. So
it's good for additional functionality, I think.
It certainly is. It's a good toy.
Yes.
I think as well on the S24 you can use it to control the camera, the button on there remotely, so that's quite handy.
Yeah, but on the S25 you can't, and on the S26 you can't.
Yeah.
They took it away, which is why this hoo-ha is coming up about Motorola, because on their forthcoming Razr Fold, all of that functionality is back. I've got the Moto Pen Ultra here, as I say, and it's got a button on the side, and it does air gestures, and you can use it to fire the shutter as a remote control. It does all of that stuff that the old style S Pen used to do. And I read an article just today on one of the tech sites saying that, as usual, Motorola might be late to the party here, but they've grabbed this. Samsung appear to have kind of half given up on it, a bit like Smart Connect and DeX with Windows, and Motorola are running with it, and good for them. Not that I'm a Motorola fan, you understand.
Yeah, we might touch on that later, Ted, as well.
Yes.
Don't the latest Honor and Oppo foldables the N6, and I forget what the honours, the Magic V6, isn't it?
That's right, yeah, V6.
Don't they both have pen input that works on the front screen and on the unfolded one as well?
Yeah, the V5 does as well.
Mm.
Yeah, that's the pen I've got for the V5. Yeah, it works really well.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, right. Okay.
I just wanted to touch on the article you put up about eSIMs. Like, what's your experience, gents, with eSIMs?
I love them.
You love them? Okay. I'd like to hear more.
So, as I've alluded earlier, me and my wife both have, she has a Samsung, I've got the Honor. So our main phone number are on eSIMs, both basically, in both phones. And all I do then is just get a cheap data SIM for our data, that's it. And then if you change his phone, all I have to do is just scan the QR code on a new phone and eSIM transfer to that phone. It's very simple. I've used them for a while, ever since Pixel started doing them, and I find them quite functional. I mean, I've used O2's, I've used Vodafone's eSIM, I'm currently using Sky's eSIM, so I've tried quite a few network providers, and I've never had any trouble with them. I think they're brilliant, to be honest with you.
That's good to hear.
I've used a few. I started using them when travelling more than anything else. The ability to have, a number on your phone and then choose the best one is neat. And I've recently just got Motzillion, the EE MVNO SIM, and I got that as an eSIM. Same reason, it's just easy. And I've moved them between phones and not had any issues either.
So in many cases, you still have to jump through numerous hoops when activating and managing eSIMs. Even worse, if you have a carrier-locked phone, eSIMs from other networks still don't work. With an eSIM, if my old phone is broken or stolen, it complicates things significantly to prevent virtual SIM swap fraud. Maybe it's not a huge deal if you're only changing phones every few years, but for a certain group of people, this extra friction is a good reason to avoid eSIMs. The idea is still good, but the ecosystem isn't ready, says this chappie from How to Geek when he was reporting today.
To be honest with you, Ted, do we have any carrier-locked phones anymore, to be honest with you?
Not in the
Very
UK,
rare.
no.
Not in the UK, no, exactly.
I think in the US you do, though.
Yes, they're tied to AT&T or Verizon or whatever, T-Mobile, aren't they, over there? But yeah, I mean, I've never had issue with switching between phones. I mean, even if I get a Xiaomi phone,
and I'm sure that this
problem.
And I'm sure that this journalist from How to Geek is in America. So
yes.
fair enough. Perhaps it's very different over there. But I think eSIMs will come. And Steve, Apple will be first, I reckon. The next Apple phone you buy, I wouldn't be at all surprised if you can't put a SIM card in it.
Yeah, I thought the Air was that. When the new Air was it an eSIM only phone, I believe. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, I think within a couple of years, all iPhones will probably be eSIM only. But I mean, as we've said, if it's only every 2 or 3 years, that's the typical upgrade cycle for most people. I don't see it being a problem. It might be 10 minutes of scratching your head and scanning a QR code and fiddling around with authentications. But things are exacerbated because of your workflow, Ted, I think. And that's why you resonated with this chat, because you literally move your main SIM from phone to phone every 15 minutes, 7 days a week. And that's why you couldn't possibly do this. But you are, I put it to you, Mr. Salmon, you are not typical.
Yes,
no,
that's true.
I'm not. That's fair enough. Let's talk about, while we're on Apple, let's talk about Apple though, Steve, and tell us what you think about the forthcoming Fold and the whole Passport style Fold, which I've got here still on the original generation Pixel Fold, and what the future's going to be for Apple going forward. Are you going to get one?
I am not going to buy one outright. I'm going to buy one off PSC Classifieds about 6 months later when it's £800 cheaper. Hopefully, I love the idea. I love the original Pixel Fold. As you know, I bought it off, I think it was Jim Fowle, and then we passed between the three of us several times. You've ended up with it.
No, that's not that one. I bought mine separately from someone else.
Oh, maybe Jim.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure where that original one is.
Okay, but yeah, I love the Pixel Fold, original Pixel Fold form factor. Just like the Surface Duo, the same idea. You unfold it and you've got a landscape screen, which is just perfect for watching content on. And most of us, let's face it, we do watch Netflix and YouTube on our phones and so forth. And it's also perfect for multitasking, with one app one side, the other app the other side. Having a folding phone, which ends up as a square, is kind of wasting the point of it. So I'm all for these what the Huawei Pura X and the original Pixel Fold, which I think they'll go back to. Samsung's rumoured to be doing a Samsung Fold Wide, whatever they end up calling that. I think the iPhone Fold will be a really niche device because of the price. £2,300 is my guess, which is absolutely insane. You'll only be able to really buy this on contract and kind of make it work that way. Do you think that price is about right, Joe?
Yeah, it's going to be a pricey one, and I think it's going to be good for us at Networks to sell it over time, interest-free. I think it will do well, though, because... well, I think it will anyway, but it's going to be the Ultra to the max for the Apple fans. Because there's a lot of people who just want the best for the Apple offer, and that is going to be the best. Because I don't think a lot of people who buy the Pro Max are actually interested in the cameras.
The thing is, people love iPads and they love iPhones, but this way you could literally have one device that was two devices in one, rather than spend $1,200 on an iPhone Pro Max and £700 on an iPad Air. You just put the two together and it's one phone that unfolds to become the other. So if there is a justification here, it's probably out of my purse, certainly buying it new, but I'm fascinated to see what they're going to do in terms of the software and how it transforms and how what you do inside becomes what you see on the outside screen and vice versa. All of the different Android folding manufacturers, they all do something slightly different in terms of what you see inside and outside and how the setup gets preserved. So I'm fascinated to see what Apple does here, but I'm very much looking forward to them launching it and seeing the reviews and seeing what they've done.
And the robustness will be the key as well, won't it? Jeremy, you wanted to chip in?
Do you think they're going to release it globally, or do you think they'll just release it in the US to start with?
I think probably globally in small quantities, but it'll be sold out, after the first week for about 3 months. There'll be a long lead time. The Pro Maxes, I was lucky to get mine about 2 weeks after launch. Most of the colours and storages were like 2 or 3 months away, and certainly for some of the colours. It'll be the same with the iPhone Fold. They'll sell it in about, a dozen markets on day one, but it'll be all sold out, and then you'll be back ordered for about 3 months after that.
Yeah, I think the software is an interesting one, because I don't think Apple will make when you open it on the inside, I don't think it will switch to like iPad OS, because they still want you to buy an iPad as well, right? I think it'll just be iOS on the inside. But the interesting thing about if all the rumours are true on the format, is that the same screen resolution, the aspect ratio for the apps basically doesn't change between when you're using it, whether it's folded or unfolded. All that changes is the size of the screen. So it's one of those it should be one of those clever things where an existing iOS app will just scale up properly on the unfolded display on the inside.
Shall we just say I've got lots of questions about everything about this?
Everybody, it'll be fascinating to see what it's like.
The assumption is Apple have been working on this for quite some time, so I suspect it's going to be a ready product. Unlike some things at launch.
And they'll also need to leapfrog what Oppo are doing now with the N6, with the virtually invisible crease, won't they?
Yeah, that's the rumor, isn't it?
Yeah, and also, will they preview it at DubDub for developers, so they get developers to buy in to do it? And if the stuff's true about the software, you can argue they don't need to. But on the other hand, they have done it before.
Yeah, I think they will tease it at DubDub, and developers will get a heads up on what they need to do to their apps to make tweaks and adjustments. That has to happen for it to be ready for mass launch in the autumn stroke heading up to Christmas, so that will happen.
This is one
in terms of the crease, though, yes, they're going to use the latest folding screen technology. There will always be a crease in all of these phones. I don't think it's a huge problem. They've been getting shallower, and the folding phone screens, however soft they may be, have been getting more durable over the years. Just think how much more durable a Samsung Galaxy Fold 7 screen is than the one on the original. Yes, if you dig your fingernail in, if you jab it with a biro too hard or something, you can damage it, but they're so much more robust. And most of them are waterproof now as well. So I think the durability thing is something that has matured, and that's when Apple tends to come into the market and say, right, this is our vision, and we're using the latest folding technology, and it's also IP65 or IP68, and I think it'll all come together, but at a huge price.
Just on that, Steve, actually, durability, the V5, for example, that's one thing I noticed from the V3. Like my fingernails, when they get long, they don't imprint on it. It has got more durable already. So, yeah, I think Apple's will be very good.
Yeah. There we are. So I'm not going to get one, Ted, but I may well pick one up from one of our good members and PSC Classifieds at some point in the future.
Sure, many will.
one of the things that Android has not done very well with on the folding devices, in my opinion, the ones I've used, is that change, like just what Jeremy was saying, the changing of the apps to make it fluid going across. For example, the Samsung does it kind of better than some, but they've got different controls on the inside and controls on the outside. The Pixel Fold, the original one anyway, you just get the same on the inside as you get on the outside. So that becomes page 1, and page 2 is just on the right, and you can't have a different layout on there. The only way that I found in order to do that independently is to use a different launcher, in my case Octopi, and it works really well. So I think that's the kind of thing that Apple will just get right, Jeremy. I think it'll just be, that they might be coming in late, but they'll have thought it all through properly, and they will make it work. And yes, Steve, it might require developers to get on board, but they've done that before. They've got developers on board before, and it takes time, but they do get there, and they know that they've got such a captive audience and market that it's fine. They can wait, and they can bide their time, and they can do it well, and that's what Apple are good with, really. Irfan, you were mentioning the rolling phone just there.
Yeah, I saw the video a few days ago. I've seen it in the past, and it looks pretty slick, actually, to be honest. I don't know why they never went with that, to be honest. I've not seen any. Like they said, the video said it's cancelled by LG, but I thought that was quite something that could have taken off, to be honest with you, where it just expands and then contracts the screen. I'm not sure what you guys think.
Well, they've got laptops like that, haven't they, already? I think Lenovo do one, which makes more sense to me, actually, a laptop that does it.
I hadn't appreciated. I haven't had a chance to watch the video, first of all. But what I hadn't appreciated about it is that the bit of the screen that's, when it's folded, appears on the back that you can interact with. I didn't realise that they'd managed to have that behind glass to protect the screen.
Yeah, this is when Mr. Brownlee was showing it off the other day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it rolled round the back in the same way as that. Was it the Xiaomi Air or something? No, not Air. That original Xiaomi device where everything right round the back was wrapped round screen, and
it was the first Honor folding screen, wasn't it, Ted?
Was it
Honor, right? Opposite way round or something?
Yeah. Or was it
on
Huawei?
The screen was on the outside. Huawei? Yeah, maybe it was Huawei.
Yeah. So Mr. Brownlee was showing that off on that defunct Irfan and not produced. What device was it? Was it an LG? I think it was an LG.
Yeah, it was an LG. Yeah. It was an LG. Yes.
But I thought it was Mr. Zach, Mr. Jerry Rick, who did the LG folding phone demo that I saw. Maybe Marcus did one as well. One I saw was Zach.
Okay.
Yeah, they've both done one. Zach did his first, and then it's the MKBHD is the one I've seen. I haven't watched the Jerry Rig one.
Yeah.
Right.
They both have links with D-Brand, don't they? I think it's D-Brand. Yes. Yeah, got it.
D-Brand sourced them, apparently.
Yeah.
But all those motors and levers and moving parts. I've just been. My pub meet today was with a guy who was brought up on Scions in the 1990s. We chatted the old times and the Scion palm tops. And their number one Achilles heel was moving parts and moving ribbon cables. And just as a folding phone's got enough moving parts, then have a rollable thing that's got mechanical cams and motors and extra. There's just so much to go wrong in terms of real-world durability and people dropping them and misusing them.
I don't know about the other video, but on Mr. Brownlee's video, he showed the inside of it via jerry rig, and you could see the cantilevers moving it out, and he put it alongside a laptop, which was decently heavy, and he got the screen to come out. So he held the phone on one side, got the screen to come out, and got it to try and push the laptop across the table. And it was really interesting if you haven't seen the other video, Steve, you should watch that one, because it shows it quite well. I've not seen the other one, so we can both watch the other ones.
I can salivate as a geek, but I'm just saying Mr. John Smith in the High Street's going to break it within a week. I'm just saying that. The more complex things are, the more they don't survive rough and tumble in the real world. I've seen how, I'm sure Joe's seen this, the way people treat their phones away from our wonderful geek community that cossets and strokes all their lovely gadgets. Out in the real world, people drop them and smash them and sit on them and all the rest of it. And I just fear for a rolling screen. I'd love to play with it, but I can't see that going any more mainstream than folding phones.
That's what Apple. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, sorry, I was going to say I concur with Steve that in the real world I've seen some proper battered phones, and I just look at them and I think, how can you still use that phone? It's just crazy.
To be honest,
I can see that happening with the Apple folding iPhone too.
Yeah, it's not just how battered they get. They slap it in a case and then it never gets cleaned ever. They just use it every day without cleaning it.
Shocking.
It's disgusting. But we have hand gel on every desk at work, and it's purely after touching people's phones we want to give them a good wash.
Gareth, any thoughts on folding or rolling or futuristic design?
I'm just sat here looking at my desk setup at the moment, and I've got my Pixel tablet on its charger next to my phone on a charger, and they're both signed in on separate accounts. So I'm struggling to see personally for me in my workflow the merits of a folding phone, particularly if I'm tied to just one account constantly, whereas I can work on the tablet and the phone simultaneously on separate accounts quite happily.
Yeah.
And this is something Ian touched on last week, wasn't it, actually? Having different devices for different purposes.
Yes, yeah. The, what was it? The unbundling. The unbundling bundly. So going back to iPods and devices that work separately, and having a compass in your pocket.
Even a notepad he had, didn't he? So.
Yeah. So that's all good fun.
Wouldn't quite go that far, but it's just as easy for me to grab the tablet and take. I carry two phones normally anyway, so just take the tablet out as well. It's not that much of an issue.
Don't you don't you get the wow factor though? Wouldn't you love to play with it?
Oh no, I fully appreciate the shiny.
Yeah.
But from a practical perspective, I don't think it's going to work for me.
No. Fair enough indeed. Okay, so who's got what else? Oh, the Sony Xperia 1 Mark 8 is beginning to look interesting, and I'm not sure that it's interesting in a good way.
No.
I was going to say to Gareth, because Gareth was my and Steve as well. I mean, we've all had lots of Sony through our hands. The renders and a new bunch of renders have come out today, kind of supporting this this block of cameras on the back, and not the nice sleek line that we've been used to. I don't know, it just doesn't have the Sony feel about it. And any thoughts, Steve or Gareth?
I'm kind of disappointed in how slowly Sony move. Every generation is such a tiny iteration improvement on the previous generation. In fact, for the 1 Mark 6, didn't they change the aspect ratio completely?
Yeah.
And is this new one? It was rumoured to go back to 21:9.
It was. I don't know. The rumours are suggesting that might be the case, yes, which is just bonkers, isn't it?
It is, yeah. No, I'm sticking with my 1 Mark 5, which I still love to bits. I mean, I know I use the iPhone as my main device, but the Sony is a wonderful plaything just to have beside the iPhone. Excuse the dog growling in the background. I'm going to mute myself now while I sort out the dog. But yes, Gareth or someone else. Yeah,
I completely agree with Steve.
Sorry, Gareth.
So I completely agree with what Steve said. I think the older Sony Xperias, everything was so lovely about them. The touch, the feel, the way they operated. Even the 10s. I've had the 5, I've had the 10, and I had the Pro I, and they just felt really, really nice to use in every way. And I appreciate as well the 21:9 aspect ratio and the speakers, everything. Can't speak highly enough of the older Sonys.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you on that. Jeremy?
Yeah, I was about to say my son's still rocking a Sony Xperia 1 Mark 5 as his daily, and he showed no interest whatsoever in the move away from the 21:9 aspect ratio. Yeah. For the newer, more recent ones, but maybe they're going back to it to catch the upgrade cycle of all those people on the 5s.
Yeah, the trouble is that it's tall, and I often have my SIM card in my 5 Mark 5, but I am aware that it's tall, and some things at the top of the screen are a stretch. The 10 Mark 7 also has moved away from the 21:9 screen, and that's got a wider aspect. I did have the 1 Mark 6 here for a while and then sold it, and that has got the differently shaped screen, and I thought I liked it. But hearing that it's going back to 21:9 possibly, I don't know what to think about that. I'll leave it to you.
But 21:9 is different to the mainstream, and that's what makes the Sony interesting. If Sony just convalesce everything around what the mainstream are doing, they're not any different. In fact, they're behind in some software ways, and they're behind in terms of numbers of years of updates. So Sony needs to concentrate on the things they do best, and that was the different aspect ratio, the 3.5mm headphone jack, the front-facing speakers, etc., etc. Sony should just stick to what it's doing best and improve those things, improve the cameras, improve the speakers, improve the internals.
Yeah, definitely.
Completely agree.
Go on, Gareth.
I'd just say completely agree with Steve. They were onto a good thing. Now they seem to have taken a different tack.
Yeah. It's like, especially the cameras, like Steve said, they're very small updates. And now they've got further and further behind, especially in terms of the telephoto, I think. So it's the interest is less and less there every year. Now it looks like someone has drawn it up from like some cheap Chinese brand. For me, it doesn't look premium like Sony usually looks. From that render, it looks horrendous.
The price tag will be premium though.
Yeah, that's why.
Right, remember they're not making it themselves; they're putting it out to a third party to actually make it.
That started with the 1 Mark 7. The 1 Mark 6 was still made in-house by them, but the 1 Mark 7 and onwards was one of these, what are they called? These firms that
OEMs?
Generic? No, they do generic designing for the OEMs, and they... I can't remember what it's called now. Anyway, it's some term that is used to denote those...
That says it all, Ted. Generic...
design houses. So, bit of a shame.
I've got fond memories of the gifts we've purchased, though. I've got 2 XM5s, one for my wife, one for myself, and a Sony TV from previous purchases. So that's always been good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, free gifts are good. And some of them are getting quite good at that, aren't they? Certainly the Far East firms. If you buy a Razer Fold now, you get a bundle of a whole bunch of stuff in it. We were talking on Tech Addicts about the latest Honor phone, which gives you 200 quid off, and then a load of stuff that's worth about 300 quid in total. And bargains are out there if you kind of hunt around from them for them. What's
never pay full price? Basically.
No, that's right. What's the
I wouldn't see Sorry, go on.
Go on, no, go on.
Just going to say, did anyone see the Honor website where it appears they're giving away a projector with the 600 Pro?
No.
No comment.
It's up on the screen. I'm just looking at it now, and they've got a picture of the
Is it
phone.
up there on there now?
It is, yeah. It's on the register now section, but they've got the phone leaning on a projector.
Oh,
Mind-
yes, yeah.
Mind you, projectors are kind of cheap these days, aren't they?
I remember when you got phones with projectors built in, Ted, eh?
Yes. And Moto mods as well.
You still can, but they're big, chunky, durable ones. That
Talking about the past again for a second, as we were there. What's the latest on the QWERTY devices? We've got the Titan 2 and the Elite and the forthcoming Click phone or whatever it's called. Steve, you cancelled your order, didn't you, on that? But any newer thoughts?
Well, I only cancelled it because the guy I had earmarked it for had I think a stroke or something, and he felt he couldn't manage it, and his brain wasn't working fully. So that was all a bit of a sad situation. But I've still got the add-on MagSafe keyboard coming, so I'm quite excited about that, and that should be here within a month or two. I also noted the Click communicator was, I think as I said before, was delayed until the very end of this year. It's just such a long wait, very disappointing. But the Titan, is it the Titan Elite? Titan 2 Elite,
yeah.
That's been doing quite well and doing the rounds.
Yeah, lots of reviewers have got it in their hand now, and they are beginning to roll out. One of your friends, Joe, I think, was on YouTube, I noticed, had one in hand. Who was it? Have you seen a review of the Elite?
I've seen a short video from a chap, and it's still chunky.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
That's one thing he did say. But he enjoyed it. He said it's nice. I spoke to him on TikTok. I can find out exactly what he said. Give me a moment.
Okay.
Mind you, the Click communicator itself is also quite chunky. If you look at the video and the photos of it at the launch party, it's a chunky beast compared to, if you think back to the Nokia E series, the E71, E72, which I've still got here, they really were quite thin. They're amazingly thin for the time. And I think these QWERTY phones at the 2026, they need to slim down more, really, to make themselves genuinely usable.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I thought I'd mention the fact that it is chunky. It's in 2026. Does it need to be that chunky? It's not going to appeal to a lot of people, I think. It does come in an interesting orange colour though, which is the trendy colour thanks to Apple.
I quite like the look of it. If I was in for a QWERTY phone, which I'm really, really not, I do not want to go back to hardware QWERTY phones. But if I was, I think that the Click's communicator is really nice looking, chunky as it may be. I think it's really attractive. I love the size of the screen and it fitting in the hand. A bit like the Huawei Pure X that Steve mentioned earlier. You know, it has that kind of size feel about it. That it'll fit in the hand nicely. A bit like our flip phones, Joe. You know, we both have decided that flip phones are probably not for us. But when you've got it in your hand or it's in your pocket, it's just great. The feel, yeah.
It's wonderful, yeah. And that is a little bit thicker once folded, but yeah, smaller still. But yeah. I mean, it does look nice, the orange actually, on the. It is thick.
I'm looking at it now. $199 to reserve one, and let's see if it says when they're shipping now.
The keyboard does look a lot nicer than the Titan 2. It does look a lot nicer for using. Like it looks slightly slanted in places and more BlackBerry-esque. I dare say so.
Yeah, I'm still lusting after it. If despite my friend having his stroke, if the Click's communicator was available to deliver next week, I think I would probably get one and give it a darn good go, as indeed would Ted. But if it's literally going to be another 7 or 8 months, then have I got the patience?
So I want them to do well because I do see a market for it still. I've mentioned various times on the show, we sell loads of Doro phones, which is a very basic like old flip phone, Doro's like a brand from Sweden.
Yeah.
They essentially make it for seniors, if you like. But there's a huge market for it.
What's the answer, Ted?
The answer is what you said, really. The second half of 2026. They were planning for Q2, but it's now second half. So,
wow.
Yeah. It's a long way.
It's on your Christmas list then, Steve.
Yeah, it may well be. I'm not against it. I may just give in to temptation later on this year. Who knows?
I'd definitely be interested to see what you make of that one, Steve.
Me too, yeah.
There will be a few YouTube shorts if I get one, trust me.
I'm looking forward to your shorts on the keyboard as well, actually.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. But I haven't had a shipping email or anything from the Clicks team for ages, so I'm not holding my breath.
I had an update on mine end of last week, I think, Steve. It just said they were on track and still expecting to ship the first units by end of May.
Yeah, I came through the Planet Computers ordering stages there, if you remember those a few years ago, and they were always doing, yes, we've been to the factory and things are progressing, and 2 months later, yes, we've been to the factory again, and there's been a few hiccups, but we're going to work around them. And it just went on and on and on, delay after delay after delay. Now, I know the Clicks people are more organised, but I expect these delays now, and I just don't sit around waiting for it and waiting for the postman.
Yeah, I know that the last thing I heard was there'd been a minor update based on feedback to enable you to turn off the wireless charging with a key press if you wanted to just keep the battery for the keyboard and not charge the attached device. Was the last
makes
thing
sense.
I heard. Yeah, it does to me, given the size of how small the battery is in the actual keyboard anyway.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, thanks ever so much, everyone, for joining us. I think we'll kind of draw a line under it now. Irfan Ali and Jeremy Harpham and Steve Litchfield and Gareth Williams joining Joe and myself. This has certainly been the most successful drop-in open door thing that we've done so far, so we'll be back with another one. I think we did say that we will probably try and do one about once a month, so we'll track a date down for that one. We'll be back next week on the scheduled show on Monday the 27th of April, but as yet we don't have a guest, so if anyone wants to put themselves forward to come on the show next Monday, you can. Otherwise, it will be a catch-up show with me and Joe, and we'll go through some of the backlog of stuff that we've got hanging about still. Phoneschowchat.uk is our website. That's where you'll find links to all the stuff that we've been talking about, hopefully, if I can remember what it all was. TedSalmon.com otherwise. PodHub UK, which is still maintained by Steve. Thank you, Steve. Well done. And that's about it, really. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me. Any last words from anyone?
Just I wanted to say, typical that this week, Classified, there's been some good stuff on there. So I just wanted to give it a mention of Classified.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was plugging PodHub UK to my PubMeet chap today. He'd never joined. He didn't know anything about MeWe. I said, right, this is what you need to sign up. You need to go to PSC. Just put it in when they ask you for joining questions, just put in the notes at the bottom. Met Steve at the pub. Ted will let you write in. And also for Classifieds as well. And yeah, so it's PodHub UK and the MeWe groups. I'm evangelising them right, left and centre, Ted.
Well done. Well done indeed. Okay, well, thanks very much, gents, and we'll catch you soon. And as I say, if anyone wants to join Joe and I next week, then put yourself forward and let me know. And it's goodbye from now.
Bye-bye.